3 times a charm. In the end, it will work out, said the gynecologist during the genetic ultrasound. I left the office crying. I was sitting on a bench in front of the clinic, wondering how I would tell my husband. After all, there was supposed to be a son, and there was a daughter. Girls, give me some advice. Ada wrote on the forum for pregnant women. Gender disappointment is a taboo topic that women are ashamed to talk about out loud. They seek solace online. I love my unborn daughter and am happy that the pregnancy is healthy, but also disappointed. I wanted a son so much. Is there a chance the doctor was wrong? Aneta wrote on a Facebook group for young mothers. I know how you feel. I have 2 daughters, and I also dreamed of a son. You can see an unwritten boy, replied another disappointed pregnant woman. My mother-in-law drilled a hole in my belly, telling me I was picky and that I should be grateful I got pregnant. I broke like a beaver. I was afraid that I would hurt the baby. If it wasn't for the help of a psychologist, I don't know if I would have been able to cope with it, tells me, Ada, today a happy mother of 6-month-old Liliana. Ada gave birth to Liliana in March 2022. She and her husband had been trying for a child for a long time, so she was overjoyed when she saw 2 lines on the pregnancy test. I couldn't focus on my duties at work. I was thinking about our son all the time. My husband has 3 brothers, and all my sisters have given birth to boys. We were convinced that fate would also give us Maximilian, recalls the first trimester of the 30-year-old's pregnancy. The words of the gynecologist hurt me. The couple decided to wait until the first genetic ultrasound to complete the layette. Ada had an appointment in the 12th week of pregnancy. Excitement mixed with stress. Like every pregnant woman, she too was worried about the course of the pregnancy. At the same time, she couldn't wait to see her beloved Max on the monitor. At the beginning of the examination, she told the doctor that she had come to see her son. Her gynecologist diagnosed the sex right away. And what is this little lady moving her legs like that? He asked after a long silence. The words hit her like a bolt from the blue. How's the daughter? He was supposed to be a son. Ada answered him. The gynecologist confidently dispelled her hopes. I don't see any gentleman here. I have a healthy girl in front of me. You can try again in a year. I have 3 children. As they say, 3 times a charm. It'll work out in the end, added the doctor at the end of the visit. Ada was desperate. She took a taxi back home. Her husband was at work, and she knew he was waiting for a text. She wrote briefly, "Everything is fine with the pregnancy. I'll show you the pictures at home." Then, she logged on to Facebook, joined a pregnancy group, and wrote a long post. I left the office in tears. I sat on the bench outside the clinic and wondered how I would tell my husband. There was supposed to be a son, and there was a daughter. I can't come to terms with it. Tears spring to my eyes by themselves. I feel terrible, as if someone has sucked all the joy and will to live out of me with one sentence. We wanted a boy so badly. We never even talked about a name for our daughter. It was supposed to be Maximilian, and that's it. I do not know what to do. Girls, give me some advice. After a few minutes, several responses appeared under her post. Aneta was the first to speak. I love my unborn daughter and am happy that the pregnancy is healthy, but I also feel disappointed. I wanted a son so much. Is there a chance the doctor made a mistake? The mother of 2 girls, expecting her 3rd child, also spoke. I know what you feel. I have 2 daughters, and I also dreamed of a son. I can see the unwritten boy. Mothers of boys who dreamed of a daughter also discuss their disappointments during the ultrasound examination. I know, I'm terrible. I carry a healthy child inside me, and I still complain. Since childhood, I dreamed of a daughter. I had a name was chosen and an idea for a Disney princess-style room. I even made some dresses. The gynecologist's words stung me. I cannot accept that I am carrying a boy, not a daughter. I'm afraid that I won't be able to love him, that they'll be a bad mom. I made an appointment with another doctor, who confirmed the male gender. Are these ordinary girls? Is there something wrong with me? Is there any mom here who heard on ultrasound that there will be a son yet gave birth to a daughter? Could you give me some hope? I am devastated by the words of the gynecologist. I dreamed about a girl so much that I can't enjoy being pregnant now. Reading all these comments, Ada felt relieved. She realized she wasn't the only one feeling bitter after the ultrasound. At the same time, she was terrified. She was nervous before meeting her husband. There was supposed to be a son, and there was a daughter. How will he get over it? It turned out that he did not hide his disappointment but did not despair like his wife. He watched the ultrasound pictures in silence. The most important thing is that she's healthy. We'll try for a brother next year, her husband said at the end. Pregnancy is not a wish concert. The news that, in 6 months, she would give birth to a girl spread quickly through Ada's family. The mother-in-law was the first to congratulate her. She knew from my voice that I wasn't happy about my gender, she recalls. She drilled a hole in my stomach, telling me I was picky and that I should be grateful I was pregnant. Her daughter has been trying for 5 years and nothing. She is on the verge of despair, not to say depression, Ada's mother-in-law explained. I'm not fit to be a girl's mother, she replied after a long moment. The 65-year-old did not like these words. The mother-in-law reacted quite sharply. She jumped on me like I was some spoiled teenager. She shouted that pregnancy is not a concert of wishes, and a child is not a toy. It doesn't matter what gender or hair or eyes it will have. The most important thing is that her granddaughter is born healthy, she added at the end of the conversation, then hung up without saying goodbye. The reprimand from the mother-in-law made Ada sad. I broke like a beaver. I was afraid that I would hurt the baby. After all, it felt all these destructive emotions, the pregnant woman chastised herself. She sought sympathy from her friend. She, without hesitation, advised her to see a psychologist. She contacted the therapist her sister has been seeing for a year. It was she who helped her deal with postpartum depression. Today I know that it was the best decision I made in my life. In the office, I found peace, which my unborn child needed most right now. The psychologist explained to me that I have the right to feel anger, sadness, and regret. Naturally, we design the future during pregnancy. Many women at this stage do not love their children, which also needs to be spoken out loud, she tells me about the meeting with the expert Ada. What else did she hear from the therapist? Blaming myself for the sex of the child I carry is unfounded. Unfortunately, this is the pressure that women often put on themselves. Gender doesn't determine whether I'll be a good mom. The same goes for my husband. Even if he doesn't feel a tremendous bond with his daughter right now, he still has plenty of time to develop it. Persuaded by the psychologist, Ada had a frank conversation with her husband. I realized we should focus more on the present and not make plans for a second child when the first one hasn't even been born yet. So I told him he had to change his attitude. Otherwise, we will not be able to enjoy the pregnancy, which will only cause me additional stress, recalls my interlocutor. Her husband took those words to heart. The young couple no longer raised the subject of the desired son. Instead, the couple focused on Liliana. They were happy to arrange a room for her to complete the layette. With the upcoming delivery date, Ada felt that she was ready for motherhood. If it wasn't for the help of a psychologist, I don't know if I would have managed it, she says. I fell in love with my daughter at first sight. Her husband also does not see the world outside of her, adds the 30-year-old. The couple is not thinking about a second child at the moment. Instead, she wants to enjoy her only child. One thing is for sure. If I ever see 2 lines on a pregnancy test, I'll burst into tears of happiness. I will no longer listen to the words of a gynecologist on an ultrasound like a verdict. A child is a child and deserves love regardless of gender, the mother of a 6-month-old girl tells me today.